everyone. My name is Connie Lampy, and I'm a volunteer with AARP Illinois. Welcome to our service project for vets, troops, and those that you love. We have a great team of Illinois volunteers here with us today. I'd like to give a special shout out to Ellen Acevedo. She is the Illinois Volunteer Coordinator, better known as our fearless leader. We have Marie Dillon, who, like myself, volunteers for different things throughout the state of Illinois. And we're thrilled to have Mrs. Jacky back with us today to support you through this experience of fun and giving. And let me remind you, if you haven't been with us before, anyone can do this. If I can follow Mrs. Jacky's directions, trust me, everyone, you can too. So Mrs. Jacky is the coordinator of Mrs. Jacky's Soldiers, a volunteer group that's been packing and mailing care boxes to the military for almost 20 years now. She'll be leading us through today's projects, but you know what? She has such a heartwarming story that I'm going to let her tell her own introduction. Hi, Mrs. Jacky. Welcome, and thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for the great intro, Connie. My name is Mrs. Jacky Connelly, and I have the honor of mailing boxes to our soldiers overseas. My dad was a sergeant in the Army in World War II, and Mom mailed letters and packages to him every day and always stressed the importance of mail call. I was raised with how important it was to get that little note or that little piece of home for a little box. So in honor of my mom and dad, when I had the opportunity of a student of mine at the Park District where I was teaching top programs, her mom went over to Iraq in the first wave. We collected items, one thing led to another, and here we are, over 18 years later, still mailing boxes to our troops that are serving so far from home. And we need everybody's help to make some decorations to put into those boxes. So we're going to get right into it today. We're going to be making a banner that says Happy Halloween. Now, this is about as easy as it gets for a description of it without standing back and seeing a full one. But some of you will have a kit that actually has all the letters and a little jack-o'-lantern in the center. Others, if you want to make this, I would suggest you simply are going to print out each of these letters on an individual piece of paper and use a decorative picture for the center that you can draw yourself or you can print out. Now,
Mrs. Jacky, let me jump in for 1 minute. When this is over, for those who've registered, they're going to get a link, and the link, there will be a link in there where they could print out those letters.
That's wonderful. Oh, excellent. Thank you so much. That will definitely help you then if you don't already have like a print shop program to do this with. You also can draw them yourself. You don't have to always use the printed ones either. But we'll go, that's a wonderful, I'm so glad we have that. I wasn't sure if we're going to have that available for everybody. You'll notice on this page, there's a very faint line that goes across the top. And in the instruction sheet that we do send out and in my instructions today, we ask that you don't draw above that line because that line is actually going to get folded back over the yarn to hang up the whole banner at the very end. So,
Mrs. Jacky, before you jump in again, how big is that white space approximately?
Let's see. I want to say it's about 2 inches, 3 inches. Let's see. One, two, about 2.5 inches.
Thank you.
Okay. What I did is if you took the bottom of the paper and you folded it up, it makes the whole bottom a square. So it's whatever's left over at the top. So this is 8.5. This would be 8.5. And there's your difference to the top of the page. But again, if it's a little bit off, it's okay. The idea is to make the banners. Doesn't matter. They don't need to be perfect. Just do the best you can. But a lot of times when people start to make a little design, they want to draw a little pumpkin sitting on top of the H, they draw over. And then what happens is when we fold it over to put on the yarn, we've lost the beautiful decorations that everybody colored and drew. So I definitely wanted to make sure that that was, you know, informed first.
So Jackie, do you have any stories as to when these went out in the past, how people have used them? Like, do the vets decorate their rooms? What have you heard? What kind of feedback?
Mine have gone to the troops that are serving overseas, and they used them to decorate offices. They used them to decorate like their meeting places, their mess hall. They were used all over the base for all different kinds of to cheer them on for the holiday. You know, they said
Excellent.
it was so nice because it's so personable because it's being handmade by everybody. It's not
That's
just a little banner you purchase at the store. Not that they're not grateful to get those too, but it's just so nice to see that people cared enough to send these over there. And it was a nice reminder every time they looked up. And I do recommend highly on the back of every single paper, you put your first name. Okay, if you're working as a family and you have little children working with you, put their age on because then it definitely totally describes why sometimes it's written the way it is. We don't recommend last names for security purposes. And also when you go to put it on the back side, I recommend a colored pencil or a pen or just regular pencil. Sometimes people go to grab a marker and the marker is more permanent and it goes through to the front. If that happens, it's perfectly all right. We'll just add it as part of the design as we go along. Now, we're going to make this first one very, very easy. Okay, I'm just going to draw some scribbly little orange lines inside of the H. Okay, and then to dress it up just a little bit, I'm going to grab my green marker and I'm just going to draw some little scribbled circles inside there too. So we kind of have a jack-o'-lantern idea going. Now, this is pretty simple and pretty fast, but if you want to get really fancy, okay, you can add things to that page. Okay, and I've drawn an entire ghost. He's hanging out on the letter H. And I know it's kind of hard to tell because of the video, but I actually colored it in yellow from here down and across. Okay, and I did all my letters a little bit different. I've got a candy corn here with the white, yellow, and the orange. Made some candy on the sides of it. I colored in the backdrop, and I've got a little witch with a pumpkin and a jack-o'-lantern. So you can get as fancy as you want on these or keep them as simple in the Halloween colors. We've got our letter P, we've got our little black cat, we've got our bat and the moon, and my Y was, I just have the ones happy, but this might give you some ideas. Now, please note how I just drew some squiggly lines on the side here. Even if you just colored the whole letter in orange, and then you made these little squiggly lines, it just dresses up the whole little front of the page. Now, when you do your banner, again, you're going to want to have something in the middle of that banner to separate the happy and the Halloween. So in my case, I have a jack-o'-lantern. Now, once you have all your pages colored in, everybody's name on the back side that's done them, or if you've done them all, you're going to want to start going for that line. Okay, I fold it over and I kind of put my finger here just to make lining up. And then I just press it across. And now I've got my square ready. And then I usually line them all up on a table or in a pile so that they're all kind of in an order to be working with. Okay. Let me go for that H so I can show you how to put the yarn on. Now the yarn. What you want to do is you want to make sure the yarn is across the paper is 8.5 inches. So for your yarn, you want 9 inches per page, plus a couple extra pages worth of yarn to put at each end so we can string it up and tie it onto things when it gets to the other end. So we're going to take our yarn. Okay, we'll take that sample H we worked with.
So Mrs. Jackie, if we're doing 9 inches per sheet,
Right?
how many sheets are we working with for Happy Halloween in the middle?
I want to say that it's 15, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15. Plus, so you want to say 17 times 9 inches. And you know what, if you just want to go by 10 inches and do extra yarn, it doesn't hurt to put extra yarn at each end of it. All right. The important part is to have the yarn at each end so the banner can actually be tied up. Now, what I think is also important when you're doing this, I don't usually put the glue or a glue stick. We can use a glue stick too. Let me pull the glue stick open. I usually put the glue at the very top of the page. So when I fold it over the yarn, you're not going to have it on the yarn. The glue's not going to go on the yarn. Okay. I'm putting the glue stick across the top of the page. I think you can see my purple glue on there. All right. Of course, this would be flat on a table. Okay. I'm pulling the yarn out because that's the first letter. I'm just flapping this over. If it's a little bit crooked or ripply on that, don't worry. And then you have your letter. And again, it kind of moves a little bit because you're only putting the glue on the very top of the page and then folding it over. Now, the important thing to remember is when
How to spell?
Pardon me?
How to spell?
That helps too, because it's sometimes their pages get out of order. But even more so than that is when you're doing them and you're laying them face down, in my case, and I glue across the top and I flip it over and I flip it over and I flip it over. I get in a hurry, I go to pick it up and it's backwards. So I've done it myself, and I had many banners made for the 4th of July. And out of like 30 banners, 3 of them came in backwards too. But luckily, because they glued them, we were able to slide the yarn out and then just put like a long little stick and like thread them all back on. But in the end, we have ourselves a nice little banner. Okay, and again, the letters kind of slide, and then I just sort of fan fold them up as I go along. And because you're doing 9 inches, but the top is only 8.5, you're able to fold over, fan folding back and forth your entire banner. I would recommend that you definitely let them air dry, or if you are using glue instead of the glue stick and it gets a little bit stickier, if you have a place to lay that out flat for the entire banner to be completely dry before you go fan folding it together so they don't stick, that would be great too. So I hope that helps you. And remember, we can go as simple or as fancy as you like.
Right, and I'm going to jump in there because the last time we did something like this, I had my grandkids helping me. My little 8-year-old had such a great time, but clearly it was an 8-year-old project. So he just signed his name on the back and put his age. And you know what? If you have a 3-year-old who wants to scribble, go for it. It's so important for our youngsters to learn the importance of community involvement and volunteering and doing things for others at a young age. So please, although Jacky's example was fantastically beautiful, I'm telling you that what she does, you can meet her at whatever level you're at. So don't be intimidated at all. These are easy to do. And as she said, you put as much or as little as you want into it. If you're artistic, go for it. If you're not, they're still going to be so grateful that you thought about them.
And if you are working with little ones, let me grab you can just give them crayons that are appropriate colors like purple, orange, and green, and just tell them, have a good time. And let them just color all over. And maybe you have stampers or stickers for Halloween, or even just happy face ones. And just let them have a good time. And if they see that beautiful colors, it's all over, and they put a couple little stickers on there, Or let's say they finally are learning to print their name and they can make a letter and they just want to put a letter in the middle of it, go for it. And it's that personal touch that it's been made by the folks back home that took enough time to care. Very, very important.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much.
Thank your relatives. They did a great job on that last project. I'm so grateful. I'm looking forward to the ones they're making this time for me.
We had a very good time as a family participating. So thank you, Mrs. Jacky, for that. I'm going to take a little break here, and I'm going to ask Ellen to put up some of our resources that we have that I want to remind you about. AARP Illinois has a ton of great resources for you. We have overall health. There's a Facebook page, and there is a virtual events page. So any of these, if you just put in aarp.org in your search engine, all of these are going to come up. But the virtual events, there is so much going on, and it's not limited to only those things in Illinois. Because they're virtual, I've participated in things from Texas and Alabama and Florida. So don't limit that. There's something going on every day. You can exercise, you can dance, you can learn about computers, you can learn about brain health. There's so many important things that you don't even have to leave your house for. So please take advantage of those things. We also have many volunteer opportunities. You can volunteer from home. You can, when we eventually get back to in-person, you can help us with that. And if you want to do some advocacy work, we're always looking for people who are interested in what's going on at a state, local, and community level. None of our volunteer opportunities require experience. Just jump in and test the waters and see if there's something that might interest you. There are advocacy calls every Monday, and you can always listen in on those and see if that's something you might be interested in. I already told you about Ellen. She is the coordinator for Illinois, so she has listed her email address and phone number here for you. I will tell you that she will send you an email if you register for this program. If you're watching it on online somewhere, there should be a link to both her contact information and, as we talked about before, a template for the supplies that Jacky used. Or again, you can just make your own. But if you want it to look extra spoofy, then you can certainly print them out with the template. All right, I am going to move it on back to Miss Jacky to do our jack-o'-lantern project. So it's all yours, Jacky.
All right. I just want to do a little reminder on the banner that I just use regular typing paper. It's not cardstock or anything, because that way it folds over nicely, and it's still going to be pretty thick when you fan fold them all together. But just a little bit reminder, just regular paper that you use for your printer. Okay.
Excellent.
Now back to the jack-o'-lantern. You'll notice one behind me. We're going to make very easy ones, and then make a little fancier one. And again, any age, and always put names, first names, and if they're kids, their ages on the back of your project. First thing new for jack-o'-lantern, you're going to need a pumpkin. In this case, we're going to start with an orange paper, and we're going to take green paper and cut a crooked long rectangle. Okay, now we're not going to, I usually glue my stem on at the very end, but I just wanted to point out at this point, we have a pumpkin. Putting my
Jacky, if I might interrupt, is that a piece of paper or is that a paper plate?
This is a paper plate.
Okay.
Starting with an orange paper plate for the first pumpkin. I'm going to do 3 different pumpkins real quick for you. But if you have some orange paper plates available left over from last Halloween, or maybe some other kind of festive party you had this summer, I just want to point out, this is a cardstock paper, but I also have green construction paper left over. You also could just take an index card and color it green with a marker or crayon, just when you go to attach it. If it's a crayon, you might want to just staple it on because the crayon will not adhere to glue because you are going to glue it from behind. And so that would interfere. But any type of green paper would do, even if it's an ad paper that's green. You know, we just want to get that green color. So I'm going to put my stem aside for a moment. I'm going to take a permanent marker pen because I'm using a paper plate. It's going to be a little waxy with this color on this side. Okay, we're going to take our marker pen and let me just get my clipboard here so I have a little bit sturdier to work on. First thing we're going to do is we're going to cut them open. We're just going to slide from one side to the other, like just slice them open. Then we're going to draw. In my case, I like to give them triangle eyes, and I kind of color it in just a little bit. You can give him any shape eyes you like. For his nose, I'm going to do a little round circle, kind of turning into an oval. Almost kind of looks like an olive there. And then, of course, he's a happy jack-o'-lantern. So we definitely want to go up and down and up, and create a nice little happy face at the bottom there. Now, you can get very fancy. You can give him teeth. You can take another marker pen. Now I'm going to take a thinner permanent marker pen. And if you want to draw lines down, give that pumpkin effect with the creases of the jack-o'-lantern there and the pumpkin. The one behind me does not have the lines on them. As you can see, though, you can put them on. The ridges of the paper plate are going to bump it a little bit, but I don't know about you, but I've never seen a smooth pumpkin. So those bumps will just look very natural. We're going to take our stem. We're going to put our glue at the bottom. I put it on about halfway or 2/3. Okay, so you can see I've got lots of purple glue there. Go to the best you can. Center in the back. Again, it can be crooked. It's your pumpkin you're making for our guys and girls, or for your local veterans, or for yourself. And there you are with a nice orange jack-o'-lantern. But you don't have to just use an orange paper plate. You can use white paper plates, and you can use paper plates of any size. We have little ones, we have medium-sized ones, and then we have a regular big one. And for this one, I like to use the bottom of it. Okay, and this one is going to be a little bit fancier, and I'll show you why. I'm going to originally start with my not permanent marker, but my highlighter, like you highlight in books. And I'm actually drawing my triangles and my circle. And I know it's going to be very hard for you to see it right now, but I do this for a good reason, because sometimes when I draw my eyes on and then I go to color them in yellow, I have a tendency to get the yellow marker all turned black. And this way, again, I know you can't see it glowing. Now, see, doesn't that look like that's about my age, right?
No, that's about my age.
You just have to roll with it. And
you already saw what you can do.
Don't forget to cut them open. Okay, and now we're going to go for the fun stuff. Okay, I put my orange marker down. Oh no, orange marker, come back. Okay. All right. Now I'm just going to draw lines from the top to the bottom, starting down the middle, but I'm going to skip over when I get to where the mouth and the eyes, so that it actually looks like they're really cut out. And again, I put that face on first. Now, what I did eventually with the one that's done, I added a purple line too. And then I have that little yellow glowing, and then I glued my stem on. And that's how this guy turned into this one. And it's very simple with lines. Now, let's say you want to get really fancy. You're watching TV, and I got a few paper plates in front of me while I'm watching TV, and you just go wild and crazy. This one is purple and orange and green. And then I did the purple on top of yellow, and it came out like it was black. So it really kind of had a nice little fun event there. Now, we're going to take a paper plate that's a little bit smaller. Okay. Oh, got to get my stem. Okay. Get your rectangle, put them to the side to glue on at the end. Okay. We're going to take a orange, and we're just going to scribble all around. We're not going to worry about a face yet. We're just scribbling it on. And it's kind of nice to go around the sides. Again, the bumps are going to interfere a little here and there. And then take our black pen. We're going to slice off his top just like we did before. I kind of gave him a big top there. You might want to make the top go a little bit higher. Okay, and then when we draw our eyes and our nose on, he's like, ooh. Okay, we're going to actually color it all in, and then you're hiding whatever you colored originally. So you don't have to worry like we did with the yellow one, where we were trying to get the little eyes to be looking like they were glowing in this case. And in this case, we'll give him a little triangle nose, and we'll give him a little like, oh, it's me. Now, what's really nice, you don't have to necessarily go out. Check what you have in paper plate land, because as I'm going to show you with the stem on this guy, we're using the bottom of the paper plate. And what you need to know is the other side of this paper plate was actually red. And it could have said happy birthday. It could have said happy New Year, happy 4th of July. The idea is to have the bottom of the plate turn into your jack-o'-lantern. And then if you want to go over and make little lines through him, I would suggest maybe with a green, or if you have a brown marker pen, and you just have a nice, very, very simple one. But I did want to stress the point that you don't have to necessarily get plates. You can use what you have, even if they're red. And even if you just took the lines of orange and went up and down. Now here I left little white line spaces between them, and I'm sure you'll notice they're very crooked. My pumpkin slant. But sometimes we do slant, and that's okay. But you can use any kind of paper plate on these because you're using the bottoms. And then if you have the opportunity to use an orange paper plate, that makes it nice and easy. You're just working on a face, cutting off the top and getting that green stem on it. Don't forget to put your name on the back. Okay, I've got my Mrs. Jacky on there. And again, use either a marker that doesn't go through, or use a pencil, like a colored pencil, so that it won't come through and ruin the beautiful design and the happy face you have on the front of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mrs. Jacky. That's wonderful. I'm going to hand it over to Marie now, and she's going to wrap us up.
But before we do that, Connie, Mrs. Jacky, for the ones that you're using, the little one with the red back, is writing on it because it's slick going to be a problem?
The orange paper plate is slick, and I use a permanent marker on it. But
okay,
this
so
one,
I could use a
point out that you can use paper plates you have. Like, what if it had said happy birthday on it on the front? It's waxy.
Right.
It does, you're right, it does have a waxy. That's why I use permanent markers when I work on the front ones. But on all the paper plates that are white, I normally go to the bottom. Right. And then I just wanted to point out that the bottoms aren't normally waxed on the birthday and 4th of July ones that we might have left over. That's where I got my red one from my 4th of July ones. It didn't say happy.
But I was thinking for signing, you could also put a label on there and write on that label.
You could, if, oh, for your name. I'm sorry, to put your name on there. Yes, that'd be fine.
Or just a little piece of paper that you tape on.
Or the back of the
Remember,
stamp.
Yeah,
or on the
could do that
stem.
too.
Yeah, because remember, we don't want to use last names, so no address labels, please.
Good idea, though.
Okay,
Excellent.
so if Miss Ellen would put up the service resources, so if you want to participate and send these to Mrs. Jacky to send to the troops, she's going to need them by September 4th. And they are going to be mailed to Johnson Phelps Auxiliary, attention Mrs. Jacky, VFW Post 5220 Auxiliary, 9514 South 52nd Avenue, Oak Lawn, Illinois, 60453.
And again, remember, information will be listed somewhere below your video recording.
Yes. If you do not want to, if you want to keep them locally, you could find a VFW post, you could find an American Legion. You should be able to just type that in to your browser and find a post. AARP also has resources for veterans, military, and their families. The browser, the information is listed underneath, and again, this will be in the recording. And of course, you can always get in touch with Mrs. Jacky at her email address at mrsjsoldiers@gmail.com. Back to you, Connie.
All right. So thank you, everyone, for participating today, and we hope that you had fun watching us. We just kind of roll with whatever's happening, and we just have a good time. So hopefully you'll have a good time making these projects. Again, turn it into a family project. We had a blast. We all sat around the dining room table, and we all made cards for Christmas, I think it was.